If you're getting up 2, 3, 4 times a night to go to the bathroom, I'd bet you've been blaming your bladder. And I want to tell you right at the start that in most people over 60, the bladder is not actually the problem. It's doing its job. It fills, it signals, it empties, exactly like it's supposed to. The real question, the one almost nobody explains to you, is why your body is making so much urine while you're lying down asleep. Get that right, and the nighttime trips can genuinely calm down. And here's why this matters more than just being annoying. Those trips are not harmless. Getting up in the dark, half asleep, blood pressure dipping, feeling for the floor on the way to the bathroom, that is one of the most dangerous things an older adult does all day. A large review of the research found that people with nighttime urination had roughly a 20% higher risk of falls and about a 30% higher risk of fractures. Another study found that getting up just twice a night nearly doubled the odds of a fall, and 3 or more times pushed it higher still. So when we calm your bladder down at night, we're not just protecting your sleep, we're keeping you off the floor. For years, the only advice anyone gets is, stop drinking after 6 and just live with it. And when that doesn't work, you get handed a pill. But if you don't fix what's actually filling your bladder overnight, you're just muffling the alarm instead of dealing with the cause. Let me be straight about who I am. I'm not a doctor, and I won't pretend to be one. I'm someone who went deep into what the urology research actually says about nighttime urination. And what I found is that a handful of simple, well-studied changes can make a real difference, and most of them cost nothing. So I'm going to give you 6 of them, ranked from the simplest to the most powerful. That number 1 change takes about 15 minutes in your evening, and it targets the single biggest hidden cause of nighttime urine in older adults. Most people have never heard of it, and it's the one I most want you to remember. Every study I mention is linked in the description so you can check it yourself. But before any of that, one important thing, because this is your health, and I'm not going to hand-wave it. Nighttime urination is usually about timing and fluid, which is what we'll fix today. But sometimes it's the body waving a flag, and a few situations mean you should talk to your doctor before you do anything else. If you ever see blood in your urine, pink, red, or brown, especially with no pain and no burning, don't wait and don't self-treat. Call your doctor, because painless blood in the urine needs to be checked properly. If your nighttime urination started suddenly or is getting rapidly worse, or comes with heavy thirst and fatigue, get it checked, because it can be an early sign of things like diabetes, heart trouble, or in men, the prostate. And if bladder changes show up alongside new weakness or numbness in your legs, that needs prompt medical attention. None of that is meant to frighten you. In most people, nighttime urination is very manageable, and there are even prescription options a doctor can consider if lifestyle changes aren't enough. This video is about the changes you can start on your own, tonight, safely. It works best alongside your doctor, not instead of them. Here's something that'll make everything after this land better, because not all nighttime urination is the same, and knowing your type tells you which of these changes matters most for you. The first and most common kind in older adults is what doctors call nocturnal polyuria. Simply put, your body is making too much urine at night. Your daytime is fairly normal, but once you lie down, large volumes come. If you go and there's a lot each time, this is probably you. And most of today's changes, especially the salt, the fluid timing, the compression, and the leg up, target this directly. The second kind is an overactive or small capacity bladder. Here the urges are sudden and urgent, but when you get there, not much comes out, and it happens day and night, not just after you lie down. If that's you, the pelvic floor training and the urge calming trick are your priority. And the third kind is when you're making large volumes both day and night. That one's different. It can point to things like blood sugar or simply drinking too much fluid overall, and it's worth a conversation with your doctor rather than lifestyle changes alone. An easy way to tell them apart. For a day or two, just notice whether your nighttime trips are large volumes or small ones, and whether your daytime is normal or also frequent. That one observation tells you which changes to lean on hardest. One quick thing before we dive in. Tell me in the comments how many times you're getting up at night right now. Just the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, or more. It takes 5 seconds and it tells me exactly what this community needs most. Let's start with number 6. Number 6. Move the salt off your plate, especially at dinner. We start with the easiest change, and one of the best proven, and it has nothing to do with how much you drink. Here's the part that surprises people. A lot of the urine that wakes you at 2 in the morning, You didn't drink. You ate it. When you have a salty dinner, your body holds on to extra water to balance all that sodium in your blood. Then, hours later, while you're asleep, your kidneys work to flush the salt back out, and they need a lot of fluid to carry it. The result is a wave of urine production in the middle of the night that has nothing to do with your evening glass of water. This isn't a theory. In a study of over 300 adults who had high salt intake and trouble sleeping, simply reducing their salt brought their nighttime bathroom trips down from an average of about 2.3 a night to 1.4, and their daytime frequency dropped too. That's close to one fewer trip every single night from a change you make at the dinner table. So here's what to do. Take the salt shaker off the table completely, season while cooking if you must, but stop adding it to the finished plate. And go after the hidden salt, which is where most of it lives. Canned soups, cured and processed meats, cheese, packaged sauces, bread, and salty snacks, especially at dinner. You don't have to eat bland food. You just want your evening meal to be the lowest salt meal of your day, so your kidneys aren't up all night bailing it out. The mistake here is thinking this is about the salt shaker alone. It isn't. Most of the sodium is already baked into processed and packaged food before it reaches you. Read a label or two at the store and you'll be shocked. Give this a couple of weeks and it's often the change people notice first. One fewer trip without changing anything else. Now let's talk about the fluids themselves, because when you drink matters as much as how much. Number 5. Front load your fluids and watch the evening drinks. This one's for you if you tend to sip your way through the evening, or wind down with coffee, tea, or a drink before bed. I want to be clear about something first because it matters. The answer is not to stop drinking water. Older adults who slash their fluids can get dehydrated, dizzy, and constipated. That's its own fall risk, and it's not what we're doing. The goal isn't less water overall. It's the same water, earlier in the day. Everything you drink has to come out at some point, and fluid you take in within a few hours of bed tends to land in your bladder overnight. So shift the balance. Drink the bulk of your fluids in the morning and early afternoon, when you're up and moving and can pass it during the day. Then ease off in the evening, small sips to stay comfortable, but not steady glasses right up to bedtime. 2 evening drinks in particular work against you. Caffeine, coffee, tea, cola is a diuretic. It tells your kidneys to make more urine, and in the evening that's the last thing you want. And alcohol is worse in a sneaky way. It suppresses the very hormone that's supposed to slow your kidneys down at night, so a nightcap can quietly flood your bladder while you sleep. You don't have to give either up entirely, just move them earlier and keep the evening clear. The mistake I see is people white-knuckling total dehydration all day and then wondering why they feel awful. Don't. Drink normally, just earlier. Front load, don't cut off. Within a week or so of shifting your timing, most people notice the first trip of the night comes later. You get a longer stretch of sleep before the bladder ever calls. Now, number 4, an actual exercise, and the one active thing on this list you can train. Number 4, train your pelvic floor the right way. Do this one if your nighttime urges come on sudden and urgent, that feeling of, I have to go now, even when there isn't much there when you arrive. That urgent, small volume pattern often isn't about how much urine you're making. It's a bladder that's become jumpy and signals too early. Your pelvic floor muscles, the internal sling of muscle that supports your bladder, help calm those signals. When they're strong and well-trained, the bladder learns to hold a little more before it sounds the alarm. Behavioral programs that include pelvic floor training are a recognized first-line approach for this kind of urgency and overactive bladder pattern, and they work for both men and women. Here's how to do it correctly because most people get this wrong. The mistake is squeezing the buttocks, the thighs, and the belly all at once. That does nothing for the bladder. The right movement is small, internal, and isolated. Imagine you're gently drawing that internal muscle upward and inward, like an elevator rising one floor. Your stomach stays soft. Your thighs and backside stay completely relaxed. Only the internal muscles move. Contract gently, hold for a slow count of 3, then release fully. The release matters as much as the squeeze. Do 8 to 10 of those a couple of times a day. You can do them lying in bed, sitting in a chair. Nobody can see you doing it. And when you feel a sudden urge hit, try this. Stop, stay still, and do a few of those quick squeezes right then. It often settles the urge enough to walk calmly to the bathroom instead of rushing, and rushing in the dark is exactly how falls happen. Give it a few weeks of consistency. This is muscle training, so it's not overnight. But people find the urgent, "I'll never make it" feeling starts to loosen its grip. If you're finding this useful so far, do me a quick favor and comment the number 4 below so I know you're still with me. And subscribe because the last 2 changes are the most powerful of the whole list. Number 3 is about the thing most people never connect to their bladder at all: their sleep. Number 3, fix the sleep, not just the bladder. This is for anyone who lies awake in the early hours, because poor sleep and nighttime urination feed each other in a loop, and breaking that loop helps both. Here's the connection most people miss. We tend to assume the full bladder wakes us up, but often it's the other way around. Light, broken sleep wakes you first, and then, now that you're awake, you notice the bladder and get up. On top of that, the hormone that's supposed to slow your kidneys down overnight naturally weakens with age and with fragmented sleep, so poor sleep and nighttime urine genuinely reinforce each other. Fix the sleep and you often reduce the trips. In fact, research on older adults has found that simply adjusting bedtime and improving sleep timing measurably reduced how much urine they made at night. Your sleep and your bladder are on the same team. So protect the hour before bed. Get off the screens and the upsetting stuff, the news, the phone, the worrying over bills or family, because all of that keeps your nervous system switched on and your sleep shallow. Trade it for something genuinely calming: soft light, a real book, quiet music. Then, once you're lying down, try a simple breathing pattern to shift your body into rest mode. Breathe in gently through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. That long, slow exhale is the part that calms your system down. Do it 4 times and let yourself drift. It costs nothing, and it's a gentle, drug-free way to deepen your sleep. The mistake here is treating your bladder and your sleep as 2 separate problems. They're not. Work on the sleep and the bladder often quiets with it. Now, the 2 most powerful changes, and they both target the single biggest hidden cause of nighttime urine in older adults: fluid in your legs. Number 2, wear compression socks during the day. Stay with me on this one because it sounds unrelated to your bladder, and it absolutely is not, and it sets up the number 1 change. Here's what's happening, and it's the piece almost nobody explains. During the day, while you're upright, gravity pulls fluid down into your lower legs. If your circulation isn't what it used to be, and for a lot of us over 60 it isn't, that fluid quietly pools in your ankles and calves. You might see the sign as a groove left by your sock elastic, or a little puffiness by evening. Then you lie down at night. Gravity lets go. All that pooled fluid flows back into your bloodstream. Your kidneys see the extra volume, and they turn it into urine, right in the middle of the night. This fluid redistribution is one of the most common and best recognized causes of nighttime urination in older adults, and it's why so many people say, "I have no idea where all that came from. I barely drank anything." Daytime compression socks tackle this at the source. By gently supporting your legs, they keep that fluid from pooling all day, so there's far less of it to flood back and become urine at night. This is a standard, recommended measure for exactly this pattern. Here's how to use them. Put on knee-high graduated compression socks in the morning or when you get dressed, wear them through the day, and take them off in the evening before bed. Start with a mild, comfortable compression from a pharmacy. You don't need heavy medical-grade stockings to start, and if you have circulation problems, diabetes, or any doubt, check with your doctor or pharmacist about the right level for you. The mistake is putting them on at night. That's backwards. You want them on during the day, when the pooling actually happens. If leg swelling is part of your picture, this one can be a genuine turning point within a couple of weeks. And it leads straight into the most powerful change of all, the one that reschedules that whole nighttime flood to before you're asleep. Number 1, the evening leg up. Reschedule the flood. This is the number 1 change, and here's the honest reason it's number 1. Instead of just reducing the nighttime flood of fluid, it deliberately reschedules it. From 3 in the morning, when it wrecks your sleep and sends you stumbling in the dark, to early evening while you're safely awake. It directly targets that leg fluid mechanism we just talked about, which is the single biggest hidden driver of nighttime urine in older adults. And it takes about 15 minutes. Here's exactly how to do it. About 1 to 2 hours before bed, not right at bedtime, lie down on your bed or a sofa and prop your legs up so your feet and calves are higher than your heart. The easy way is to lie on your back and rest your heels up on the couch cushions, the seat of a chair, or against the wall, so your legs are raised at a comfortable angle. Get settled and stay there for about 15 to 20 minutes. You can read, listen to something calm, close your eyes. While you're lying there with your legs up, gravity is doing the work for you, gently draining that pooled fluid out of your legs and back into your circulation now, while you're awake. And here's the elegant part. As that fluid returns, your heart senses the extra volume and signals your kidneys to start clearing it. So your kidneys begin turning it into urine on your schedule, instead of at 3 a.m. That's why the timing works. So here's the key final step. When you finish, and again right before you climb into bed, go and empty your bladder. You'll likely pass a meaningful amount, and that is exactly the urine that would otherwise have woken you in the small hours. You've moved the trip from the dangerous, groggy middle of the night to a safe, wide-awake moment on your own 2 feet. A few pointers. Keep the elevation gentle and comfortable. You don't need your legs straight up in the air, just higher than your heart. If getting down to the floor is hard, the bed or a recliner works fine. And pair this with the compression socks from earlier, and the leg up does even more, because there's already less fluid pooling to begin with. The mistake is doing this and then drinking a big glass of water on the way to bed. That undoes the point. Empty out, keep the evening sips small, and go to bed light. This is the change people write to tell me made the difference. Because it's not fighting the flood, it's rescheduling it to a time that doesn't cost you your sleep or put you at risk on a dark floor. So there they are, 6 changes, from the simplest to the most powerful, to calm a bladder that's been waking you at night. Take the salt off your dinner plate. Front-load your fluids earlier and keep the evening coffee and alcohol out of it. Train your pelvic floor gently and correctly. Protect your sleep, because your sleep and your bladder are on the same team. Wear compression socks through the day to stop the fluid pooling. And the big one, put your legs up for 15 minutes in the early evening and empty out before bed, so the flood happens while you're awake instead of at 3 in the morning. You don't have to do all 6 at once. Start with the 2 easiest, the salt and the fluid timing, this week. Add the leg up next. Small, consistent changes stack up, and most people start noticing fewer trips within a couple of weeks. And remember why this is worth the effort. Every nighttime trip you prevent is one less time you're up in the dark, unsteady, feeling for the floor, and the research is clear that those trips are a real fall risk. Fewer trips means better sleep and a much lower chance of a fall that could change everything. One more time, because it matters. If your nighttime urination is new, getting worse fast, or comes with blood in the urine, heavy thirst, or new weakness in your legs, please see your doctor. These changes work best alongside proper medical care, never instead of it. The fact that you stayed with me to the end tells me you're ready to actually do something about this, instead of just living with it. Pick one change and start tonight. Your sleep and your safety are worth it. If this helped, subscribe so the next one finds you. We make videos every week to help you stay steady, rested, and independent. I'll see you in the next one.